Hello, my beauties. How are you doing today? Juicy life. People were here. Yes, yes, yes. Light is changing. And this beauty, this ambassador of love, love out of loud, right? This is actually, this human is like the most inspiring human I've encountered in my value. And we have like some common weirdo things going around, like being in love with everything and everyone, having joy around. And who is that?
Who am I?
Yeah, who is here?
I'm Nicole. Lovely to talk to all of you on the Juicy Life YouTube channel. I lead a movement which is impacting 350 million people by the end of 2020 in messages of love.
Messages of love.
And compassion. Yeah.
Love and compassion. So how do you live actually this life and compassion in your daily life?
Well, I think it's really important when you're understanding what it means to live a life from a place of compassion and love is there's really no destination. There's no place that you get to where all of a sudden you've perfected it, but I think it's an ongoing practice. One thing I really try and remind people constantly is self-love, and acting from a place of love and compassion is something that anyone can learn. It's a skill set. It's an actionable skill, and it's not just an airy-fairy idea that's nice. It's actually something that we can learn, and we can become self-aware enough to choose that moment to moment in our own lives. Yeah.
So how does this actually, how can a person learn love? What does this love consist of?
So in my framework, I think, lots of different people teach love different ways.
Yeah.
The framework that I wrote into my debut book, which is what the movement was based on, which is called Love Out Loud, was created after working with hundreds of thousands of people around the world in politics, through engaging communities for a non-profit that I was CEO of for 7 years, doing my own community development work as a leader and a freelancer, and just seeing time and time again, no matter who I was working with, what type of educational background they'd come from, where they were in their financial position or their social accolades. There were always these fundamental things that humans needed, which is to be seen and heard.
Being seen and heard. Being
seen and heard and truly acknowledged. Which is when I saw that repeated theme time and time again, you start to be able to actually understand, there's a model that we can design and live from that allows us to choose love moment to moment. And I started to map these out through my research. One thing I did was actually differentiating. This is the difference in fear-based decision-making and fear-based thinking, and these are the differences in love-based thinking and love-based decision-making. And some of the few to help you guys differentiate in your own lives, I can also share this model with you maybe in the comments, the links below.
Of course.
Love-based thinking is naturally more altruistic. It connects you to expansive way of life. It's naturally more creative. It's naturally more inclusive.
Yeah.
So non-judgmental is what I mean by inclusive. Yeah. You are, in your decision making, you feel a deeper sense of inspiration and connectedness. So these are some of the, symptoms, the positive symptoms of living from a place of love. And fear was very much the opposite. It was reactive versus responsive, which is a love-based decision where it's actually grounded and responsive. It was reactive in fear. It was judgmental. It was it created more division and segregation. Whatever that decision. So it made you actually feel like you were more separate from each other.
Should we play roles like of the love reaction
You can choose the scenario.
Okay. So let's go first through the non-love.
Okay, fear.
Yeah, from a fear base.
Yeah.
How would that look like?
Well, what is the scenario?
Situation. Someone is, let's say, afraid to leave the job.
Okay.
Someone is afraid to step into their own full soul purpose. They're scared. They don't know what to do. They don't want to move, but they feel like they're missing out on their own life.
Yeah, okay, so from a lens of fear,
Yeah.
or from a paradigm of fear,
Yeah.
that person's probably thinking all of the anxiety points, so things that could go wrong, you know, the fears of what could happen once they leave a situation that isn't serving them. Like when they leave their job, what if I run out of money? What if people judge me? What are other people gonna think? What if my partner leaves me because they think I'm a weirdo, or you know, or I don't want to be different to those around me, so I'm going to hold myself back. The other symptoms in that would be self-criticism. So maybe thinking things like, I'm not good enough, I don't have what it takes, I'm going to fail. This is sort of a fear-based paradigm. And actually, it's something to be grateful for as part of our wiring as human beings, the fact that we have this instinct of fear, because what fear is actually intrinsically there for is to help protect us.
Yeah.
But the thing is, where we were thousands of years ago, what we were needing protection from was woolly mammoths and you know these and lions and things that were out to actually get us, that triggered
they've been threatening our life, right?
Yes, and because we don't have that sort of day-to-day threat so much anymore, especially for those living in Western countries,
or maybe in Australia, you have there's
yeah,
dangers outside of
it's not as bad as people think it is in Australia. We don't ride kangaroos to school. There's nothing out to get us. I know. Sorry to burst your bubble, guys.
So the fear, back to the fear.
What was I saying?
No, the love.
Okay, and then
the love response. Like how would the love response look like? Well, a bit too dark. Whoa.
To think altruistically. So you're thinking, okay, everything up until this point hasn't been wasted experience. I can actually use the experience that I have. Everything is preparing me now to make more conscious choices for myself, and I can step out of this situation that is holding me back and making me feel contracted, which is actually one of the personal ways that I can really identify fear. The decisions that you're making, are they actually physically making you feel
uncomfortable?
Contracted, or are they making you feel open and expansive? So that love is thinking in these terms, like everything up until this point is preparing me to now do the thing that makes my heart the happiest. I am ready, what would it look like if it was to go right? Understanding that the challenge is actually a normal part of the process, and just because you're experiencing resistance doesn't actually mean that it's not going to work. That's actually a normal part of the process. To choose self-love, that even if other people don't understand, my self-worth and my sense of self-esteem isn't dependent on what other people think about me. That actually I will back myself. I will back the vision that I have for myself in my own mind. And you can, as human beings, we can will this into existence, but often we need to be the first people to love ourselves the way that we want to be loved by others, so that we can actually become that demonstration. This is what it means to love me. It's to accept that I have this side of me that is creative and visionary, and there's more, there's more I want to give to the world. And you have to first love that in yourself before you can expect others to show up loving that in you as well.
So what is the first step to start loving yourself?
that is to me, self-love is the starting point. You can't really get anywhere until you have a
But how do I do this first step to self-love?
The first step to self-love, I think becoming aware of where you're not loving yourself would probably be the best place to begin. A lot of our unconscious behaviors, or the behaviors and the thought processes, even just starting with your self-talk, that are unconscious, the way that we tend to beat ourselves up in moments, where we criticize ourselves. Like what's the self-talk that you have when you're looking in the mirror every morning? What is the self-talk when you make a mistake? What is the self-talk when someone else judges you? Like, do you have a resilience that allows you to actually stay grounded in a sense of, I know who I am. I'm not going to be so swayed and influenced by the opinions of others, or by the critic in my own mind, which we all have. I think really the journey is about turning the volume down and
to
turning the self-love volume up. I don't think you ever get to a place where that's not there, because the critic in your mind is your ego sense. It's the fear that's actually designed to protect you. But it's just about knowing when to let it drive your car and when to put it in the passenger seat.
Yeah. And which kind of response would you give to this fear, right?
Love.
So, yeah.
Always compassion. Like, for me, the most powerful way to minimize that voice is to hold it in my present, my conscious awareness with gratitude and love. Like, thank you for doing your job. I'm now aware of the prospective danger.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do this anyway because I powerfully choose that. I'm not going to be debilitated by the fear.
Disempowered.
Yeah.
What took you to get to that point? What was your journey? What was this aha moment on your own personal journey to get to that insight?
Growing up and experiencing a very long period of mental illness really taught me just how powerful the mind is. I suffered from anorexia for many years, and I don't know, for anyone that has experienced that or seen someone go through that, you really do face off with, I believe, some of the darkest demons in your own mind around, just the parts of your own ego sense that are so toxic. And I really believed that I was worthless, I wasn't even deserving of food. That was my self-talk. And to starve myself for so many years and to be in that suffering, for me, I got to a place where I really had to ask myself, is this something, because it was critical, the situation I was in, is this something I want to die for? And the answer was no. I had too much to give to the world. So
what is that you're giving to the world right now?
Love. Compassion. Understanding that this life is so precious. Like, every moment has so much fragility. And we need to seize that and be in that fully. It's the greatest gift for us to be able to experience the things that we get to experience in this life, the good and the bad.
What is joyful right now in your life, and how do you celebrate this loving joy inside of yourself? What do you do, except of being, of course?
Yeah, I think that changes moment to moment. There are times that I feel that celebration's a lot of yang energy and a lot of celebration, high levels of energy and celebration with people I love and my team and people I get to meet and do this work with. And I'm really blessed. I get to run seminars and workshops and speak all over the world in many different countries and meet many different people. There's a lot of that high level of energy in my life, and it's also important for me to come back to myself and have more yin. I crave that as well. Watching more sunsets in silence and journaling and being still. I think creativity often for me requires a lot of space, and I need to give myself that space if I really want to be truly inspired, not just trying to create from myself, but actually opening myself up, being relaxed enough and still enough to open myself to a greater sense of inspiration.
Actually, guys, here we are here for relaxing and have a look on this view that we have
Check
here.
Check it out.
Yeah. Whoa.
It's pretty special.
Yeah, it's a special moment of that. We're actually taking this moment to go back, to re-nourish, to be in silence and really having this time of just being united with the ocean, united in this whole thing together. So I'm super curious about the moments, this is juicy, joyful. Now it's coming to you, the unapologetic. The unapologetic moment or situation in your life where you felt all the world is against your values. And you've been, stayed really true to yourself. And that was actually a super changing moment for you, for your path, for your movement. What was the situation? Could you share a little bit?
I think there have been two really pivotal moments of this in my life. The first was leaving high school. I tried to go to university.
Yeah, tried. What did you study?
Actually, I'm now graduated, but that was not a traditional process to
What
become.
did you study? What did you study?
I was studying marketing with a major in consumer psychology.
Oh wow, that's important now for your movement, eh? That's
No,
cute.
it taught me nothing.
No.
Not to discredit anything, but
Yeah.
I mean, I was studying that before social media was even a thing, so everything I learned just became so irrelevant. I think life is our greatest teacher, I really do.
Oh, 100%.
Says the person that's beginning my PhD next year.
PhD on?
Dr. Love, on love. The power of love.
That is awesome.
Yeah. I tried. How to explain the short version? I started to begin my studies, and I knew that a lot of what I was learning was really conflicting with my values. Like, we were learning essentially how to manipulate people.
In marketing,
yeah.
of course. Pain points.
Yeah.
Speak the pain. Speak the pain.
And there were the agencies in Australia that everyone, that was the ultimate, as a graduate, you wanted to work for these top 3 agencies. And I looked at what they produced, and I'm very intelligent in that way. Like, I know that I could have a very, very, very successful career as an advertiser, as a marketer. I understand psychology. I know how to.
You advertise love now, no?
Yeah, right. But even back then, exactly. Even back then, I knew that I could thrive. But it was too conflicting when I looked at the sorts of things that were being promoted, and no one. Like, I was a student at uni that would debate with my lecturer. Like, I would want to have a conversation about ethics, and and I was just sort of like, that was never encouraged. Questioning the system was never. So it was very evident for me that I was being called to do something else. And
but you're different. That your beliefs do not fit to the current.
Yeah, and after my first semester, there was a period where I had actually registered already my non-profit, and I was raising capital to run a big campaign. I wanted to impact 100,000 young people across Australia, and I needed to raise a significant amount of money, over $100,000, to make this possible. And I was a teenager. Like, I had like $3 in my bank account.
Oh, how did you go?
Well, okay,
what was the spirit of the moment?
So the moment was, I hadn't yet secured any investment.
Yeah.
And I knew if I enrolled in university, because there's only a period of time, I went to a private uni as well, so it was very expensive. I couldn't, if I ended up securing the sponsorship, I would waste like $15,000 on my subjects, because I wanted to tour. That's what the sponsorship was for, to run this big campaign around Australia. And everyone was like, there's no way you're going to get the sponsorship. Like, you have no experience, you've never spoken, you're just a kid, it's never going to happen.
All those fear voices,
yeah,
right? Fear voices,
exactly. All of the reasons why it wasn't going to work. And my family were very much putting pressure on me to stay in university. There was just a voice inside of me. I was experiencing a lot of synchronicities, like a higher guidance. That's the only way that I can sort of explain it. How did you receive that? Dreams and intuitive feelings, and just like, really beyond all of that, this fire in my gut that was just like, there was such a resistance to staying in the environment of university that I literally felt like at any moment I could catch on fire and burn it all down. Like, it was so strong, that feeling inside me. And I made this decision that on the outside was so illogical, and I took the risk. And I spent the little money I did have buying a van that I could tour in. And I said to myself, even if I don't secure this capital, I'm just going to find a way to do it. And as soon as I made the decision, I deferred uni, and I took the risk, and I backed myself. Literally in 48 hours, I secured the capital. And I know that the universe was testing me. I had to accept the prospect of failure and the prospect of being judged by everyone to be the right condition of self-love, to strengthen myself, to attract the reflection from life of actually, if you back yourself, we will back you. You know, you have to back yourself first.
100%, because like, you know, with many people who I speak in those interviews, you know, they really have this like resilience, you know, who like this is the universe testing you. The deeper you fall, the more you need to develop the strength to come back.
Think about nature.
Yeah.
Nature is the ultimate teacher of this. Nature is so resilient. When you see like leaves growing through concrete, you know, and when you see every single winter, all nature
dies.
Not in Australia, but all nature, it literally dies. It relinquishes itself. It allows itself to fully go through this process of death. And every single spring, it rejuvenates, even stronger, even more resilient. And we are not separate from that. We are also meant to go through these periods of challenge, these periods of where we're being tested. And all it's doing, it's not a failure. It's just helping us become the condition required for our dream, whatever our intention is, whatever we want from life. I see it as like, for me, setting this intention, this vision that we have in Love Out Loud at the moment, which is our 2020 vision, 4% of the population, 350 million people by the end of next year. When I first started saying that, it's not like a visionary just says that for the first time and they're like, yeah, fucking easy, you know, like that. It brings stuff up. Any part of me that wasn't aligned in my own belief that was possible, by stating that to the world, it comes up, you know, and those insecurities and that the hesitancy and the am I good enough and is it possible and am I being crazy, is it too ambitious? But that is a normal part of the process, because what you've done for me, like I'll use my example, you create a tension point in the universe, and then you literally, where you are now exists in relation to that tension point, and you literally have to go through the process of strengthening to become the condition in order for this to manifest. It's a normal part of the process, and you can do this with anything. The thing is, people just believe, okay, well, if I say I want to grow my business by 5% in the next 12 months, that's achievable. And then they achieve that, and they say, if I had set myself a goal to raise the revenue of my business by 500%, it never would have happened. Well, no, you know, it's exactly the same process. It's exactly the same process.
Same
but
steps,
the tension that you're creating is less.
Yeah.
So you're not growing in the same way. Like, people really struggle to understand it because they've never actioned a big enough dream to prove it to themselves. When you start saying this, like just the fact that now on stage I will say we're impacting 4% by the end of 2020, we're impacting 4% by the end of 2020, I'm consistent in that message. The type of people that approach me now are so different to the type of people that were approaching me when I said I want to impact 50,000 people. The level changes because what you're communicating is different, and my practice is become more and more congruent in what it is I'm communicating, stronger and stronger and stronger in what I'm communicating. And this is how we bend reality. This is how our experience of reality is created.
Wow. So what is for you intuition, and how do you use intuition in developing of your own business?
Intuition to me, coming back to the tension point. So when you have a strong intention and you're clear on that, you will then have an intuitive guidance system that takes over. So that is clear, and then I surrender to how it happens.
To outcome,
Yeah. So I know what my vision is, but I'm not attached to the way that it's achieved. So I can have a strategy and I can know, okay, well this makes sense and this makes sense, but I'm not fixed. I remain open, and through that openness to the universe, I allow something bigger than me to guide me. And that shows up in my own experience as intuitive feelings, as a gut instinct. I'm quite in touch with my body, so I know, like for me, you know, it can come in different ways. Sometimes I feel it in the back of my neck.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like an expansion in my heart. Sometimes it's actually a literal gut feeling, and it's just like, do this now, or like, this is the person you need to talk to. Anytime that I experience an edge for myself, if I find myself resisting a conversation with someone, or like that, whatever that edge is where fear starts to take over, I encourage myself. talk myself into breaking through that, because I know that there's a limitation there, and I see that as an opportunity for me to grow, you know. And what's the worst that can happen, you know, like constantly coming back to, well, actually when I meet an edge, that's something to be grateful for, because I'm now in a growth phase of my own self, and to not be put off by that.
Who are your inspirations that you're like still kind of having in front of you? And
you know, I really feel that I do what I do on the planet because I couldn't find anyone that I really wanted to follow. But the people that have inspired me most are the great visionaries of, you know, throughout time, like Da Vinci and like prophets. I think spiritual prophets. These stories of Christ, you know, the story of Buddha, like he was a king, you know. These stories really, Nelson Mandela, like 27 years in prison, and his message was forgiveness. Like these people, I believe we need to learn from and understand, okay, that forgiveness is possible. I don't need to go and spend 27 years in prison to discover that. By learning these stories, I understand that the depth of my compassion and my forgiveness as a human being is so deep, and I'm going to choose that now without needing to learn the hard way. Like these are definitely the people that I connect to the most in terms of keeping myself strong when other people have doubted me. I think about these stories and how these people, like, you know, say the story of Christ in Christianity. I don't call myself a Christian, but I find a lot of the stories throughout Christianity are very inspiring. Like Jesus was a Jew, and the Jews turned against him. You know, like they were his own people. And he had a connection that was so powerful that he trusted that beyond everything. You know, and that to me is faith. True faith. And I wish for everyone to find faith, whatever that is for you.
Something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, something bigger than yourself. And it's not a blind, I don't see faith as blind. Like the faith that I have in my heart is a knowing. It's invisible. It's like the wind. It's like you can't see wind, but you believe that it exists 100%. That's how I feel about love.
What's the yummiest thing that you envision yourself coming to you?
Coming to me?
The most yummy, this beautiful, yummy
harmony amongst humanity. Every single moment, just seeing that vision intricately weaved into all of humanity, the way that we treat each other, the way that we exist as a species. That's everything. I would die for that.
What is your message from your heart?
That is my message. Like, choose love each other. Like, it's what you are. You will meet yourself deeper and deeper and deeper if you learn to love. If you learn to love you. If you learn to love others. If you learn to love the planet. You know, the moment. Yeah.
So if we would be like, for example, now, like two little girlfriends under the blanket, what kind of secret could you share now? Like, shh, don't tell anyone.
Secret. I don't really keep any secrets. I don't know. Give me some guidance. What sort of secret?
Some little secrets. So no one knew, but you have discovered that.
We can bend reality. To me, that information, once you understand that, it should be illegal. Like, we go through our whole lives questioning, can I have the things that I want? Can I have the perfect relationship? Can I pursue, you know, my dreams? And if you just stop questioning it and understand that we literally are the creators of our reality. You are creating it. You can bend reality. You can bend the matrix. You can have anything that you want to have. That to me is the greatest secret. Like,
if you can have it all. If you do what? Be what?
I see it as love. You know, when you honor the truth of who you are, which is Like, love is infinite, is infinitely powerful. It transcends time, it transcends space, it transcends any sort of boundaries. When you fully step into the part of you that is the most you.
Could you differentiate these two different types of love? The personal and transpersonal.
Yeah. Well, I see it as like spiritual concept of unconditional love is, it transcends the self. But I do believe that we have a capacity as human beings to love in this way in every moment. Like, I don't feel we need to be defined by conditional love, because the very fact that we can talk about these concepts, the very fact that we can advance our own consciousness, we can think in an interdimensional way, to me indicates that we can bring the infinite into the finite.
What is your favorite animal?
My favorite animal?
Yeah.
Good question. I really like...
She's talking for half an hour with a mirror. Well, everything.
I really like white tigers.
White tigers.
I think they're
so
amazing.
special.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I think that's my a couple of shamans have told me that that's my totem, my spirit animal.
Nice.
Yeah, presence and beauty.
Wow. And how does the white tiger sound like?
I actually have no idea. I'm assuming like a normal tiger. I would have no idea how to
Could you show
sound.
us?
I have no idea. I really don't.
Right.
I've never. Yeah, I
No?
guess. I'm not sure. Have you ever heard a white tiger?
Well, I did a workshop like animal dance. And, like,
Okay,
had
has
you all
anyone
sound-
been a white tiger? Like, do they sound
It's like
different to... No, that's a domestic cat. That is what a domestic cat sounds like.
So the next time we should interview, Nicole gonna know how her totem animal expresses in the sounds, right?
They're always pretty cool, calm, and collected. When you watch them in videos, they're very stealth.
They don't do any sound.
Yeah, they're just like... They don't need to. They're so powerful.
Yeah, like,
It's like, yeah, get the fuck out of the way. I'm a white tiger.
all right, loves. That was a beautiful white tiger, angel of love, Nicole Gibson.
Yeah.
And juicy life coach Irina Busurina. We show you again this beautiful view where we had today some trials of backflips that didn't turn out like what?
You should post them to your YouTube channel. I think.
So how did you see my backflips? What was that?
It was essentially just you stepping backwards into the water. That was your backflip.
So I tried my best.
Was that your best, really?
Well, next time.
We'll work on it.
We're
Work on
working
it.
on that.
Practice makes perfect.
Exactly. So that was from Hvar Island, after Manveli University. And guys, live love, live joy, and be present, and be love, shine and flow. This is my 3 things: love, shine and flow. Mwah.